Assalamualaikum students, how are you all? I am Advocate Harsh Majid. Today I am going to the most important topic for the whole level students, that is legislation. Today we will talk about what is legislation and what is done by the legislation. So let's get started. So first, legislation. When we talk about the legislation, the most important jurist, Sir John Salzman, comes in the mind. He says that legislation can be understood in two senses. The first sense we have a narrow sense, and the second we have a wider sense. Because the legislation means basically the legislation is derived by two words. The two Latin words. The first Latin word is legis, and the second Latin word is lation. The legis means law, and the lation means making. The means making of law is called legislation. According to the most important jurist, Sir John Salzman, he says that legislation can be understood and understood in two ways. The first is narrow sense, and the second is wider sense. When we talk about the narrow sense means that when the legislation is done by the supreme authority is called that is the narrow sense, and when we talk about the legislation is done by the subordinate bodies and autonomous body, that is called a wider sense. And the one more thing about legislation has a superiority all over the sources, because legislation is also the sources of law. And when we talk about the other sources like custom, agreement, and precedent, so legislation has superiority over the source. The reason is that because he has many power compared when we talk about these other sources. Like suppose we can do two action in legislation by other things. We can do amendments, and we can make the law also. So that is the reason the legislation the legislation has superiority over the sources, because two actions can be done in a legislation: amendments also and making also. Due to this action, it is also called the written law, statutory law, and law of parliament. Okay, viewers. So this is the topic legislation. If there is any question, any query, you can ask me, you can comment me, and till see you soon with a new topic. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.